This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're gonna be typing somebody for one of the high-ranking members that she is, Avery. Thank you for recommending Steven Bartlett. Guys, we'll be using Linda Berens interaction styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions. Shout out to Avery. She's one of our high mods. She's one of our serifs. She's been with us for a very long time, and is one of the big engines behind like our success. So shout out to her and everything she's been doing for our group. But you guys know we use Linda Bennett's interaction style and Temperament. We have a breakdown of all of these online. Just go to how to find anyone's personality type and just click on those videos. We have cognitive functions breaking down as well. If you want more hands-on experience and you want to be part of an actual community that can help you develop your typing skills, you want to join our Discord, okay? And if you want more than that, you can join our Demigod Dojo where we have step-by-step books that you should read, from the easiest to the hardest to actually develop your skills as fast as possible. Um, Anything you guys want to say about this guy? I know he's the CEO, the guy behind the I guess the YouTube channel, Diary of a CEO. I know he's had a couple successful business outside of that,
Hmm.
but I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Mm,
sure it's mostly like marketing and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, he's very much into the viral marketing. Um, and like yeah, just I'm pretty sure that's pretty much where that business came from.
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I think he gets some of the most highest quality videos out there. And you know what? I need to start doing what he's doing. We know 30% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. And we would really like it if you subscribe to the channel, guys, because that helps us grow and that helps us give you more things like this. Okay. That's what he always says in every fucking video. So I like his
yeah,
content.
yeah. He was also in Dragon's Den as one of the investors.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
the British version. Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of it. I don't really watch much TV, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So let's go see what the idiots over at Personality Database have Stephen Bartlett as. Okay. That's a unique outfit.
Yeah, oh fuck me! I swear to God, if I
They
see
type
one
everybody
more fucking
ENFJ, man. ENF.
every single fucking person. It's almost like it's set to their default setting, dude.
I don't know,
Holy
ESFJ,
shit.
ENFJ.
it's just anyone that they think is extroverted and has any empathy must be ENFJ.
I don't even know if it's empathy shit.
Oh
They type
God.
I
everybody.
don't know.
I mean,
I
what
don't know why they come up with that. I don't.
didn't
Yeah.
they type Sydney Sweeney, ENFJ?
Did
Yeah,
they?
dude,
Think so,
dude,
but
I swear it's more ENFJs than it is anything else.
well, all of them got TI inferior, bro. That's crazy. Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I could tell Jerry something, and this is an honest God truth. I'm not ragging on ENFJ. I can tell Jerry something, and then 2 minutes later, he gonna ask me the same fucking question. This man calls me every fucking week. I put my hand on the Bible and asks me to go out with him when he knows I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Every fucking week he asked me this shit. I'm like, God damn, Jerry. I said, boy, with SI Trickster and fucking TI Free, I don't know how you got through school. I honest to God don't know how. Whoo, I ain't even got empathy, but I got empathy for them motherfuckers because I don't know how they did it. Um,
Yeah, I was
ENFJ,
gonna say this guy's achievements pretty much already exclude ENFJ from jump.
well, you can get
There's no
somebody
way
that's
this dude
even,
is a centimillionaire
well, I mean,
as
you
an
can get some of them.
ENFJ. Like
You can get some of them like
I haven't
that.
seen.
I ain't seen them, but I mean, you can't. Wait. Never mind. Scratch that. There is one. Who is the guy we did? He's funny. He's fucking. He's got a little TV show. God damn, I can't remember his fucking name. Let me go to my notes because I'm trying to get the celebrity list. But there is a super rich ENFJ. So scratch that, sir.
But did he
Um,
get his money, or was it, or was
Steve
he
Steve
fucking like?
Harvey. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey.
Yeah, but is he even rich though?
Hell
Most of
yeah,
his
he's
fucking
rich.
Yeah, he's
yeah, I
ultra
know. Oh,
rich.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Steve
But
Harvey rich as
the
fuck.
weirdest thing with that is some of his jokes are stolen from other fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he didn't he got rich kind of promoting other people like biting other people's shit. It's like,
Well,
yeah,
hey.
okay, very
Sure.
affiliative.
Well, I mean, you also get those athletes that are ENFJs like Magic Johnson, those type of guys, and they're fucking rich. But let's go ahead and get into it. So you got direct initiating their outcome. So DIC guys for these guys because they like control too. They're affiliative, they're motive. And these guys, they're very psychologically motive. Like they always know from a psychological perspective, like why somebody's doing something. Or they're always like keying in on it. It's kind of obnoxious when Jerry tells me that shit. They're abstract, right? They live in their own little world. I swear Jerry lives in Jerry world. I don't know how he does it, but the motherfucker's the happiest person on the planet, and I'm just like, I don't know how. I don't know, Jerry, bro. You keep hitting shit with your car, but you still super happy. The TIFE and SCNI guys. So if he meets those metrics, we'll type him ENFJ. If he doesn't, we'll find his actual personality type. Yeah.
Yeah,
Back-
they're the inverse of the ISTP.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I'm excited to get this guy on the channel because I do love his channel.
And
Not bad.
you have made quite a career
And guys, we have typed Simonson next, so he's INFJ. You could just look for that video.
out of getting people to say all the things they don't want to say. And now here you are on the receiving end.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Now you know how we feel. I'm not going to start with, here's how nice I am. I'm not going to start with, I'm going to ask you a question. Most people lie about the answer, and I want you to be honest.
Okay.
How are you? I'm not going to start there. But how are you?
How am I? I'm good. Interesting chapter of my life. It's an interesting chapter of my life, I think.
Interesting chapter in my life progression.
Things
Process.
feel more balanced than ever, if that makes sense. And when I say balanced, I don't mean in any equal
SI.
proportion. I just mean
Talking about balance, SI, NE, guys.
quantities that make me feel good, right? And I feel like I'm in a bit of a boring phase of my life in an interesting way.
Another progression statement, boring phase of life.
Define boring.
Just this kind of straight compounding phase
Define boring, TI.
of my life where nothing huge happens, but in fact, everything is happening because it's boring, it's the same, it's showing up every day, it's discipline.
Does boring mean routine, or does boring mean you're bored?
It means there's not a huge variance in the amount of experiences, but it's intentional.
So it's
Oh.
maintenance.
Yeah, focus.
Any.
Focused.
That is counter to your personality. And what I mean by that is, you know, you are sort of an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. You dropped out of school, went into business by yourself, sort of lived the entrepreneurial life. And entrepreneurs, their mentality, the don't do well, the creativity, the excitement, the joy, doesn't suit maintenance, which is why entrepreneurial-minded folks struggle in a corporate environment. Does that mean you're changing? Does that mean that you're in a position of no creativity? You're not feeling challenged? Like,
So
bored is a very interesting choice of words.
yeah, so let me I'll give you an example of something. Let me just take my podcasting business. It's about 30 people. It's called The Diary of a CEO, and everything is going up and to the right. So this month is our highest downloads ever. We're going to do about 35 million downloads this month, 400,000 new subscribers on YouTube this month. Spotify, everything's going up and to the
So he's giving TE.
right.
Yeah,
And I
those
know
TE.
that it's in those moments, because I know this from, I'd say, 2.5 decades of observational analysis of my mother, of successful people, of Joe Rogan, of all the people that were big and then fell off. I know that it's in those moments when temptation to lose focus is the highest. So it's in those moments when everything is going great that you need to have this kind of boring patience with the process. And it's this slow, iterative,
Process.
1% finding of marginal gains. That feels boring because I'm not accepting huge new opportunities that might divert my focus. I'm doing, in fact, what I think Joe Rogan did so well, which was do the same thing for 15 years. And don't allow yourself to be swayed by temptation, which is, as I said, optimal when things are going well.
Give me an example of a
Systematic.
person or an organization that you believe gave into temptation. Like, what does that look like?
A specific name of a person?
I mean, or a company.
I can talk broadly about.
I mean, the point is like,
Yeah.
we're talking about these things in the
100%.
abstract.
Yeah, I can
So
talk- yeah.
help me understand a tangible example so that I can relate to what giving in temptation looks like.
The biggest YouTuber in our country, in the UK,
Yeah.
had, let me say, 3 million subscribers. He was the king of YouTube. He was the king of in-depth conversations. He was the king of the algorithms, etc. He got so big that he got so many opportunities. He got an opportunity to start a fighting channel. He got the opportunity to start a gaming channel, a football channel, a second football channel, loads of other channels, a gambling channel. He took those opportunities. He got an opportunity to move to another platform called Twitch. He took that opportunity. He lost focus, and you slowly saw this descending of his ability to reach people, his message. He lost sight of also his authenticity and would take opportunities based on their lucrativeness, not the resonance that it had with him and his audience. And I just watched him go from being the king to being now completely, he texting me the other day and asking me for a loan because his whole team have left him. And I diagnosed that moment
by the way,
against
that was
someone
FE
like a Joe
just a second
Rogan
ago.
who doesn't get credit for really the consistency and staying power. And I go, it was in the moment when temptation was highest that he should have made the toughest decision, which was to focus. And I talk about that a little bit in my book, these moments in my life where I had such high temptation to lose focus. Or my mother, who I watched start 25 businesses between the age of my age of 10 and 20. And I watched how she was never successful because
nemesis?
whenever something showed any sign of success or failure, she would be swayed by a narrative that there's greener grass elsewhere. And watching your mother, like our family we were virtually bankrupt for my entire childhood. No birthdays, no Christmases, no driving licenses, living in a derelict house, purely because of my mother's lack of focus. Even the one business she started, which is this restaurant that went remotely well, she was immediately swayed by someone down the street telling her that an estate agent's business was better. And then I watched the restaurant crumble as she tried to give 50% to two things when both of her competitors in those industries are giving 110% to each. So when I said boring at the start of this, I'm honoring the fact that I know focus and focusing on consistency and compounding and doing more of the same stuff is in fact the path to the top. There's this really interesting boring section in the middle of it when you've got to just say no a lot. And they always say, when you're unsuccessful and things aren't going well, say yes. And when you're really successful and things are going well, say no. I'm saying no to everything. And it can feel a bit boring.
I guess what you're describing in the example of the British podcaster is selling out. Right,
Yeah.
Which is you've achieved a level of notoriety, or you have a number of followers that is now appealing to other companies and advertisers, etc. And you say they dangle money in front of you.
It's the focus, the selling of the focus that I think is the worst thing.
See, what I think the guy did here is he did too many fucking things. You can't start all those channels because then it's hard to actually keep up with anything. So then it's like everything's falling through your hands. Like if you keep one thing, it's very easy to stay attuned to it. That's why I don't really like too many social media platforms. That's why I was very big on like not having a lot of social media platforms because like you decrease your presence by the more of them you have. Like the more of anything you have, you just decrease the presence of it. If I had 20 kids, I probably wouldn't even remember half their names, So it's like I see this all the time, and that's kind of like the curse of an ENTP, really.
All right.
Or
Before we keep going, then
extroversion.
we should probably do something on the board.
Uh, let's go progression. I feel pretty good about progression.
NSINE.
Systematic. I want to make sure this guy's not a fucking INTJ too. Because he is
Okay.
hard. I mean, I think most likely he's ENTP, but he's hard on NI, boy. I mean, NE, he's going hard at NE, like, you know, which is rare for an ENTP to go
Well,
hard.
that's why I was saying before. I'm like, it sounded like NI nemesis. It's like it's come up later on in life, just reminding him to keep focus instead of jumping between different things. But yeah, we can find out.
Yeah, because he's going hard. Well, ISTP would eliminate it, and ESTP would be eliminated. Structure and process. Yeah, he's doing hard against any. I would probably. You probably couldn't pay Henley to say that. You'd have to drug Henley. You probably have to drug him. Seriously, for Henley to say that shit there. Oh, I have to drug him, boy. For him to say all that shit about any that he just said, boy, you'd have to drug him.
Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors of all time, says never interrupt compounding interest unless you absolutely have to. Like, that's one of the great rules of investing. Never interrupt the process when something is compounding. And he interrupted the process by shifting his focus.
Yeah.
And that's the chapter of my life I'm in, and it's difficult to speak to teams. In fact, your work on thinking about infinite games and finite games really helped me, because you've then got to build a system that is built for a long chapter of your life.
Systematic.
Yeah.
You've got to build a company culture, and you've got to energize your people and inspire them in a way which is built for 10 years, not 10 months. And that's what I think a lot about, is how do I keep these people with me for the next decade? How do I keep their enthusiasm up? How do I keep them in a sustainable culture?
Did you always know this? When did you learn this? When was the conversion to being finite driven, hitting a number, hitting a score? If I get this amount of money, that'll make me happy, to now recognizing that sort of boring is actually a strategy?
So it was reading your book, in fact. So reading about finite and infinite games changed my first business in a quite profound way, because I realized that we were aiming at things like becoming the best in our industry. When we wanted to be number one, make the most revenue or whatever. And I realized that there was both a lack of fulfillment that would come with achieving those goals, but also it wouldn't stand our company the best chance of succeeding over time, because we were unsustainable. We were too intense.
Very fucking future focused. Ew.
We were focused on short-sighted goals. We had short-sighted incentives. And then in 2019, I stood in front of my company and presented a new way forward, which I called www. Which was our world goals, which means outside of our walls, our welfare goals, which is the people inside of our walls, and I can't remember the third one. World, welfare, and our work goals, which is the work we do for the clients that we have. And these goals were all infinite in design. And
systematic.
Just because of that, it meant that we were designing our company to go for multi-decades. Motivation increased.
God damn, there's a lot of NI, man.
Staff attrition fell in terms of people quitting. Our incentive structures changed. Our client work changed. We took on different clients that could go with us over the long term, which were more lucrative. And that's kept with me ever since. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. And thanks for being an example of what an infinite-minded company looks like.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's NI to NI here. I mean, that's NI. That's Simon Sinek's NI.
There's a detail in your own growth and your own history as an entrepreneur that I find really interesting. I'll give an analogy. I've had people come up to me and say, can you help me? Can you give me advice? I want to be a public speaker. And I say, well, what do you want to talk about? And they go, I haven't figured that out yet. And you realize they've got it in the wrong order, which is you find yourself compelled by an idea, and then you figure out a way to spread that message, public speaking being one of them.
Oh, compelled by an idea.
NI. You just basically say it comes with NI first. NI first.
So it was always weird to me that somebody says, I want to be a public speaker. I don't know what to speak about. And I think we see that very often in business owners, which is, I want to make a lot of money. I want to be my own boss. I'm looking for a business I can start, right? And money very often is the driver. If I hit this number, I'll be happy. If I hit this number, I'll feel successful, be successful, whatever. And I'm very curious about your rise when you started your first business before you went public. What was the motivation? What was the drive? How old were you when you started that business?
I was 21 when I started that business. It was a pivot from a business that I started when I was 18, but 21 when it was founded, when it was registered as a company.
And what was the ambition? What was the drive?
It's multifaceted. So there's a personal drive, which is to become rich.
Yeah.
And that was very clear to me. I needed to become rich.
Why?
Because I was deeply insecure and riddled with shame and being pretty much the only black kid in an all-white area growing up. We were the weird family, in my view. As I said, we lived in a derelict house, and values often decided by comparison. So, if you look at where I was getting my value from, you've got a perfect house next to ours, a perfect family. On the other side, you have another perfect white family with lots of money next to ours. Then you have this derelict house with me and my black family inside of it, where the grass is 6 foot high. Everything about my context and my environment told me that I was lower value. It told me that I wasn't enough. So the things that invalidate you when you're a kid often become things you seek validation from as an adult. And for me, I was invalidated by our lack of money, by no romantic interests, by my family being quite bizarre, my mother being particularly interesting. And that's what I wanted. I wanted normalcy. So at 18 years old, I write in the front page of my diary that by the age of 28, I'll make £1 million. A Range Rover Sport will be my first car. I'll get a six-pack and a girlfriend. And that was my orientation.
That's a lot of fucking NI.
Lot.
Ooh, fuck this guy, man. This fucking guy got me going between INTJ and the ENTP. And I'm thinking the way that this guy's fucking talking about NE, the way he just shit on NE, whoo. Like I said, you'd have to drug Henley for him to say that. You'd have to drug him. You'd have to drug Cole for him to say that shit.
And my North Star in life. That was, if I did all of these things, then I would be successful. And that's the path I set out to achieve. And by 23, I had a Range Rover Sport as my first car. I had multiple millions in the bank account, had a girlfriend, and I was working out. And, I didn't feel great, to say the least.
So
he's definitely Enneagram 3.
23 years old is a pretty young age, to be a millionaire, but then to have achieved one's goals on paper, and not feel successful. So what happened? So you achieved these things, and then what happened?
I realized that I'd been lied to by some kind of narrative. And when I say lied to, I don't mean someone had lied to me. A narrative had lied to me at some point along the way. A narrative had told me that upon our company going public that morning, when I went over to my phone in the corner of the room, that a marching band might appear, and maybe all of those people that called me the N-word or bullied me when I was a kid would appear and apologize and say how great I was or something. I was confused about.
Definitely 3 shit.
I was confused about the nature of fulfillment and who I was and why I wanted what I was, and I was riddled with fake ambitions. I think that's what I came to learn over the years, was that my ambitions were fake. They weren't ambition, they were insecurity. And there's a big distinction. And most of our lives are dragged by insecurity and shame. They're not driven by ambition. And when you it's a tragic truth that most of us are going to have our ambitions, and our narratives fail us before we realize that they're illusions and they're mirages and they're false. It's something that I think a lot about. How do we get people to realize that these limiting beliefs and ideas that are driving their lives are illusions before they have to undergo the pain to realize that themselves? Even a little bit earlier, when someone offered to buy our company for a very big 8-figure number, me going home and going on rightmove.com to look at the houses I could buy, then going on Auto Trader and look at the car that I could buy, and looking into the image on this screen and realizing that I would be somewhat emptier, I'd be somewhat poorer for buying these things. And I couldn't quite, it was an emptiness that I could feel inside of me. And then I met the guy that I wanted to become. I always think about this. I went and met the guy that I wanted to be. Friend of mine, was still a friend to this day, billionaire, 7 Lamborghinis outside of his house. I slept in the Louis Vuitton room, which was just this big room surrounded by these bags. Spent time with him that night till 5 a.m. and he opened up to me, and deeply, deeply lonely. Asked me to sleep in bed with him that night. This is a 35-year-old man.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? But that sounds like a lot of SI there. This guy. He did rep a lot of SI there. He did rep a lot of SI. I slept in this room,
Before they have to undergo the pain to realize that themselves. Even a little bit earlier, when someone offered to buy our company for a very big 8-figure number, me going home and going on rightmove.com to look at the houses I could buy, then going on Auto Trader and look at the car that I could buy, and looking into the image on this screen and realizing that I would be somewhat emptier, I'd be somewhat poorer for buying these things. And I couldn't quite, it was an emptiness that I could feel inside of me. And then I met the guy that I wanted to become. I always think about this. I went and met the guy that I wanted to be. Friend of mine, was still a friend to this day, billionaire, 7 Lamborghinis outside of his house. I slept in the Louis Vuitton room, which was just this big room surrounded by these bags. Spent time with him that night till 5 a.m. and he opened up to me, and deeply, deeply lonely. Asked me to sleep in bed with him that night. This is a 35-year-old man. One of the most miserable people at a fundamental level that I'd met, and that is who I was striving to become. So I had to go in search of something else. A new set of values to govern my life.
What you said, you described this.
A new set of values to govern my life. Would that be FE? That's definitely got to be FE. In search of new values. That's got to be FE, right? You're going outside of yourself. to get some values, not just you don't just have them. I'd say it's more FE. I think I'm coming home to ENTP, but goddamn, he's developed, boy.
As
Yeah,
fake
he is.
ambition.
Yeah.
So then what's real ambition? Because you did make the distinction. What's real ambition if this is the fake ambition?
Yeah, so real ambition is driven by your intrinsic desires and passions and interests. So, you know, like I DJ now and I do this podcast. These are things that I would do irrespective of
He DJs. Okay, we getting some NE coming out.
remuneration. They're attached to my like intrinsic
The
motivation.
things that
rewards.
you would do for free?
You might not do them for free unless you're fortunate enough to have surplus income, but they're the things that, you know, yeah, you would choose to do if in a world where you didn't have to worry about money. So fake ambitions are driven by the pursuit of rewards and validation. Like I wanted a Lamborghini and I wanted a Range Rover Sport, even though I'm not interested in cars. Real ambitions sound like I want to go and play the violin in the hills of Peru because I love the violin. It makes me feel great, you know. And it's funny because I used to think that if I realized I was quote unquote enough, it would remove my ambition. A lot of people think this. They think if they go, I've had, you know, people like Gary Vaynerchuk and other people I've interviewed say that if they're scared to go to therapy because of what it might change in them, because of what it might remove. They think it will steal their ambition. It doesn't.
I feel the same way about that shit. That's why I would not go to therapy. I didn't want to change a fucking thing.
Steal your ambition. It steals your fake ambitions, and it gives you enough space to focus on your real ones.
You have achieved a tremendous amount, and I think what I enjoy. What I really enjoy about spending time with you is, for somebody so young, you have a tremendous amount of perspective and wisdom. You know, I'm getting older now, and I'm now that person who I remember older people would say to me, "But wait till you appreciate what the world is like when you're older." You know, and I'm like that person now, looks back and be like, "Oh, I wish I knew that." You know, do you have a sense of what you still have to learn at this age looking forwards, or is that an unknown to you that you're going to have to trip over and fall on your face to find out?
So outside of parenthood, which I've come to realize that I'm not, it's one of those things that I realize I'm not going to know anything about until it happens. I would say romantic relationships, I still have a ton to learn there. I would say I'm still slightly confused and insecure as it relates to self-worth. I do spend too much time obsessing over metrics. And I know that there's still a fundamental link between my self-esteem and my self-worth and these metrics and numbers, which is interesting.
Self-worth is FI.
And I sat with someone who wrote the book about.
I'm saying TE, he said metrics. I obsess over these metrics. TE.
About status or status, I don't know how you guys say it over here. And he says we all play status. Status, what'd you say?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to say status. We all play status games.
Yeah.
I was under the opinion that I'd stopped playing them. I'd sold all my fancy things. I didn't have designer stuff. So I assumed I'd stopped playing status games in my life. And he made the case to me that your games just change. Billionaires, it's, you know, when you don't have a lot of money, the logos are bigger. When you become a billionaire, it's smaller logos, but bigger yachts. People with cameras, they play, you know, if my cameraman walked in now, he'd start talking about the cameras in this room and try. We all have these different games we're playing, and I'm playing a different set of games now, and I don't want to be a slave to the game. I want to be conscious of the things that I'm doing and making sure that I don't find myself in a similar position where I'm trading happiness for, I think I'm trading happiness for my self-worth. That's still an ongoing challenge.
That's TE.
I have.
And that's TI.
Then I have other challenges. Like I have a lot to learn about emotional regulation.
Tell me more.
I find it easy to get annoyed at things. I'm never angry. I don't shout. It's not my style. But I find it easy to go, specifically as it relates to work things. And you said this on stage. Do you remember when we spoke?
Yeah.
You said I get very, very annoyed at small details not being right as it relates to work and standards. And that's something that I know that I want to improve. I want to be able to take a little bit of a pause before reaction.
You said you still harbor insecurities and have self-worth issues based on hitting metrics. Say more about that. Like where do you feel like where does, if you're happy, you wake up every day with gratitude, and yet it seems paradoxical or oxymoronic that you still struggle with self-worth issues related to metrics.
Yeah, I don't. It seems paradoxical, but it's not, because both are definitely true. So it's definitely true that I wake up every day with this like deep sense of gratitude and disbelief at my life. Like it's every day. But at the same time, my obsession with being successful, like making things better, finding marginal gains everywhere to the point that it frustrates me. And this obsession with like climbing and being better feels like it's still rooted in the same old issues from my childhood. And it's just about for me, it's about being conscious of that and having a healthy relationship with that pursuit. And again, it being driven and not dragged.
Tell me
Three.
a
Tell me
project
without
that you've been
telling me
involved in
three.
professionally that you absolutely loved being a part of. It may or may not have been commercially successful, but if every project you ever worked on was like this one, you would be the happiest person alive. Something specific.
The Diary of a CEO, the podcast.
Okay, so what specifically about Diary of a CEO?
Yeah, I mean, the Japanese refer to it as your ikigai, right? Something that I think I can get good at. I believe it's helping other people. It's remunerative for me, and I enjoy the process. So it ticks all four boxes in that regard. It seems to be my ikigai,
Helping other people,
as the Japanese would say. And it's definitely the thing that I found in my life that checks all those boxes. A lot of my businesses, I know that I'm running them for commercial incentives. It's ticking a curiosity box, but it's really for a commercial means, an end. But the Diary of a CEO would be the one.
Is there a particular guest or episode or series of guests that capture that feeling better than anybody else?
So many of them, obviously all of our ones. That third episode we had, for me, is a perfect example of that, where you have a human being, you get to meet a human being at that human being's essence. You get to learn things that are resonant and that make you feel like your struggle isn't because you're inadequate, it's because you're a human too. And you're given a path through your struggle. There's humor in there. There's a range of emotion in there. Those are my favorite things. And if I go right down to when I was a kid, I was strange. I would go on first dates and I would ask them deep questions about their childhood. If I had a tour guide and he was telling me, I remember being in Peru and the tour guide was showing me buildings. And for 7 days, I showed no interest. And on the 7th day, he started talking about how different cultures that he takes on the tours have different levels of happiness. And he had my undivided attention. And he said to me that on that 7th day, he says, you haven't paid attention for 6 days. And on the 7th day, when I started talking about people, you tuned in. It's just clearly in school. 2 lessons that I went to and didn't get expelled from were psychology and business. All the other lessons, my tenants hit 31.
You're usually going to see abstract people love psychology. That's just how it goes. What are you guys thinking here, man?
I think we should just go a little bit further.
Yeah.
Until we see some fucking.
I'm leaning.
Until we see some like.
I'm leaning. Yeah, I think part of this rant sounds like some SI inferior shit.
Yeah, it sounds like some SI there, and I just think
like going through the struggle and coming over the other side type thing. Sounds very.
I mean, yeah,
he's
coming in very. Yeah, it's like 3W for ENTP.
It's very obnoxious.
Fully developed, but
a 3, because a 3 will cover up not being focused. They will cover it up because they're a 3. That's why if you get an ESTP and a 3, you're gonna think he an ENTJ. It's just how because you just won't see it. You just won't fucking see it. That's the difference. And this motherfucker got that shit covered up very well.
And that's why they kicked me out. So, and I would steal those psychology books because I wanted to take them home and read them. So I've always had a focus on human beings and why they do what they do. And so this is just proven to be the perfect solution to that.
What is it? Tell me an early specific happy childhood memory, something I can relive with you.
Running around in the garden with my brothers, having a water gun fight.
Was that one water gun fight you're talking about, or something you did on a regular basis?
One particular one that I remember.
Okay, tell me about what of all the magical things, and I know you had a weird childhood, but of all the magical things that happened as a child, what is it about this one thing that you're choosing to tell me about it now?
Freedom of any worries. I just felt the sun on my body running around through the
Sun on my body. That's a motherfucking strong SI.
Garden. Our house at this point wasn't dilapidated. My parents were still in reasonable terms with each other. And yeah, it was freedom. It was sunshine. I was away from school. I didn't really like school. It was freedom. And that freedom is something I've pursued my whole life. Absolutely.
Craig.
in an unrelenting way, where I do believe
You've done things where you played in the garden before. You did things where you played with your friends, where you had a sense of freedom. You know, what was it about this one where you're playing with your brothers that
just seems to be perfect that day? I don't know why. It just seems like everything, there was ease. And there was so much dis-ease
I don't know why, T.I.
in my childhood. There was so much screaming and shouting. This particular day just seems to be very easy. Everything there was, you know, everything was there. The sun was there. My family were there. They seemed to be happy. The house was fine.
They seem to be happy, Effie.
Wasn't any worry. And I was free.
No worry, any.
That freedom is really why I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just not very good at being constrained.
Pragmatic.
In
any way. I'm a remarkably good quitter. It's one of my greatest skills is being.
There we go. Now he's starting to talk like Henley. Now he's starting to come around to Henley.
You know, what was it about this one where you're playing with your brothers?
There you go. Now he's starting to come out, Henley.
Just seems to be perfect that day. I don't know why. It just seems like everything, there was ease. And there was so much dis-ease in my childhood. There was so much screaming and shouting. This particular day just seems to be very easy. Everything there was, you know, everything was there. The sun was there. My family were there. They seemed to be happy. The house was fine. Wasn't any worry. And I was free. And that freedom is really why I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just not very good at being constrained in any way. I'm a remarkably good quitter. It's one of my greatest skills is being better than everyone I know at quitting.
Yeah, very
Say more about that.
I just think I'm a really, really good quitter. I reflect on my
Meaning
life.
you know the right time to quit, or you just quit too quickly, you quit too easily?
Know the right time to quit, but it's more sort of intuitive and instinctive than that. Quit with such ease and such little worry about the path forward or the path.
Yeah, that's some any shit for
me.
And
That's some Henley shit.
yeah, that's any.
You know, when they quit like all these fucking jobs and shit. My brother did that shit. I'm just like, bro, you can't be doing that shit. He'll quit at like fucking lunch break, never go back to work. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? He's like, bro, I just don't give a fuck. I'm just like,
Yeah, I think this one's done, man. This dude's starter as fuck, bro.
man, this
yeah,
is
that's
what-
really it. I think
It's a
quitting, the
wrap.
real skill of quitting isn't necessarily knowing, because you can't know, but it's knowing that you can't tolerate the current situation. It's knowing that uncertainty is a better hand to have than misery.
But what about
uncertainty is a better hand to have. That's some extroverted
Very
thinking
good.
or extroverted intuition. The
Mhm.
unknown is better to have. If that was an INTJ, they'd be scared shitless. They are literally scared shitless of the unknown. Shitless. ISTJ too. They both got fucking any in a bad spot, and they got fucking SE in a bad spot. They are scared shitless of the uncertainty.
I mean, there's a young generation now that quits very easily,
Yeah.
you know, and they seem to be following your counsel, which is, this sucks. I could go talk to somebody, but they probably won't listen to me. So what would be what's the point of going to talk to somebody who, you know, doesn't care about me anyway? I'm just going to, like, everything you're saying can be rationalized and used to justify quitting regularly to the point of too much and too easily.
Well, I think
Like, where's the nuance?
I think the key point of difference is, I'm saying when you think about the fight to change something, you have to weigh up the rewards on offer. You don't lead a fight to change something in your job if the rewards on offer are still at the other end of that, a job that you absolutely hate, you know? Or if you think that all the effort it would take would still leave you with a job you hate. You fight for something when you believe that the fight is worthy of the eventual cause. And so if you're a Gen Z and you're 19 years old and you've got working conditions you don't like, but you believe it's possible, that change in this organization is achievable, and if that you achieve that change, it wouldn't suck, then you fight for it. But I don't believe it's right to fight for something where you know that even if you win, the rewards aren't worth the fight. So that's kind of what I'm saying. And to be fair, what you're describing is Gen Zs who just don't like a situation, so they leave.
Yeah.
And I believe it's the nuance as well as it relates to Gen Zs and working culture is when you're young, and I talk about this as well a little bit in my book, is you should really be focused on filling these first two buckets, which are your knowledge and skills, irrespective of, I believe, the resources, the reputation, and the network you get from the role. I think those are the most important things. I talk about these first five buckets in your life. Knowledge being the first one, which is what you know. Skills, which is what you can do. resources, which is what you have, the network, which is who you know, and your reputation, which is what the world thinks of you. It's really those first two
Systematic.
buckets that are the most important, and it's all five buckets that are going to decide the course of your life. The example I give is of my friend in San Francisco was in his front porch, and a guy.
All right, that's systematic, but it's good example, man, of like a hyper focus ENTP, dude. Like, woo.
Mhm.
Very hyper focused ENTP. With Enneagram 3, boy, it becomes a mess, boy. Obviously he's got to be SO, SP, right? He's got to be SOSP. He's got to be. Um, I think Indy. What do you guys think? Indy,
Yeah, that sounds
Hmm.
about right.
Noam/dominant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's prodigy level, man. Hands down, prodigy level. This guy gave
Yeah,
me
dude,
fucking fits.
when your nemesis is that fucking strong, it's like holy shit.
Yeah. To where you like shitting on your own hero in front of other people. It's like, holy shit. But he could have been wearing a mask to mimic Simon Sinek there. That's the only thing too. He could have been wearing a mask to mimic Simon Sinek because maybe Simon Sinek wanted to hear that, type thing.
Hmm.
ENTPs to do that shit, they'll put on the mask.
But even then, like you need to know that's what he wants, which is pretty fucking integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
but
would just sit,
Annie's
wouldn't
picking
even
up
be
what
able to
other
mimic. Yeah.
yeah, but Annie's picking up what other people want.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, he still got the achievements. He
Yeah.
still like, even though he is an ENTP, he's kind of got his reputation in check, which is a fucking big thing. You get a lot of ENTPs who got shit reputation. Somebody said like, what did John Bodine say? He said Henry, for some reason, he takes ethics very seriously, and you rarely see that with ENTP. He does, he does. He tries not to be like, because you could compare him to some other ENTPs. I don't want to drop names, but everybody know. Um, so yeah, got
Yeah,
long.
I'm sorry, man. Nah.
I think so, man. I definitely think so. I mean, I've seen ENTPs. Even my brother, he's not a great character. He's just not a great character. You gotta live long enough to see enough ENTPs, and you will realize that. Or my friend Steffi, not a great character. Even Kyle,
But that's kind of like comparing a grape to a grapefruit.
comparing a grape to a grapefruit. I mean, it's a lot of shady ENTPs out there, bro. A lot of them. I
Yeah.
mean, even Jeremy Fragrance. I mean, like you could just go down the list, but there's a lot of them. A lot of them. Kanye West. Don't get me started though. There's a lot of them, bro. And they build nothing but records for a lot of people's lives. But yeah, this is a pretty developed ENTP here, 3W4. Yeah, he's prodigy level. He's got his shit together. He a lot of people depend on him. Hope he finds the happiness that he's looking for. Zara, you got anything you want to say, man?
He's well integrated at ENTP. He's definitely leading into a shadow a bit, like with his any nemesis, and from there he's able to be more focused on his ventures, but at the same time he has that more playful and starter type feel to him, especially towards the end when he was talking about knowing when to quit. Um, I mean, I just don't think like even for myself, like I don't just quit things. Like once I know I'm on a certain track, I'm not deviating. That's the route. That's
Mhm.
it. It just takes me forever to start something. But
Yeah.
once I, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it before. INTJs, the longer they do something, the more they feel committed to it, and the more they're able to use anticipation with the thing that they're sticking with. So when they stick with something, they'll usually stick with it for a long time. It's kind of like the same thing as an ISTJ. They stick with everything as well, just out of comfort, but it's two different things, the reason why they're sticking with something. One is for anticipation, the other one's for comfort. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
you just get
interesting.
better at navigating over time with it, doing a specific thing over and over, and then you could just start predicting what other things are going to happen.
Hmm.
And from there, it's like, yeah, I just love the anticipation.
Yeah. So that's the reason why you'll never see them INTJs quitting. But ENTPs, as they continue to do something over and over, they get less stimulus from it.
But even beyond just the anticipation, it's the mastery of something that really drives you through it all.
I think it's the anticipation, to be honest, bro. I think it's the anticipate. And I is real big on anticipation. The more anticipation you get, um,
Yeah,
kind of feeds into it.
it's fun.
But I think for an ENTP, like as they go along, they get bored. They get bored, or like they get less stimulus from it. Like, the 100th time they've done something, that shit no longer fun for them. It's time to go start something else. Um, and the good thing is he's mapped out his life and he's ready for that phase of his life, which is fucking insane. Um, because a lot of times in a lot of businesses, they'll tell you to do something new, but a lot of times if you just stick with what you're doing and what's working, you'll go just as far. It was like a guy who does this dance in TikTok. And guys are like, man, he's still doing that dance in TikTok, but now his followers are over like 2 million, you know, and he's still doing the same thing. Sometimes you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. Sometimes you just got to stick with it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, Avery, that was a fun one. He was interesting. I thought it'd be a lot easier, to be honest. But guys, we're out. Peace.